Hey folks, this is Best in Slow. Welcome back to our Planet Zoo park build here in Elderwood National Park. Really does sound better if you just say it nice and quickly. Today we're going to work on the Siamang habitat. It's worth mentioning straight up that this isn't 100% finished. There's already quite a lot of work in this, and it will tie in with a way with the axolotl habitat. As you may have heard yesterday, I've been suffering from a fairly brutal migraine for the past few days. It's made working on this very difficult, but I didn't want to have to wait like a whole week to do another episode of Planet Zoo, and we did get, quite a few hours into this build, as you're about to see. So think of this episode and the next episode as kind of a two-parter sort of thing, where hopefully we do both the axolotl and the Siamang. And I had a very specific idea in mind. I found this image. I was searching for national park buildings, basically, that's all it was. And there's an image of this big wooden building, and it was kind of like the welcome centre sort of thing for the national park. And we don't really have something like that. We don't really have like the welcoming building where all the stuff is, because I don't tend to like stuff. Stuff is stupid. But one of the things about this building was the way that there was a path curving around the left-hand side of it, as you can see there, and then it clearly dropped in front of it, and like the building was sat on a hill because the front of the building was the same level as the side of the building, but there's a staircase from the path up to the building. You kind of see what I've done there. So the path is there. It's flat on the left, but on the front there's a staircase because the hill drops. You know what I mean? So I really wanted to kind of replicate that. As it turns out, that was a massive pain in the ass. There's probably about an hour of work just figuring out how I was going to lay this bloody thing out before we got to this stage. But got there in the end. It wasn't really worth it, if I'm totally honest. It just makes life so much more difficult. But I do think hills and terrain variation does add a lot to a build over time. We're going to change quite a lot here. I wouldn't get too attached to these logs, they're not going to survive too long. Really just trying to build a interesting wooden building, something that would fit into the environment. It's probably one of the bigger buildings we're ever going to build in this park. At the end of the day, it's meant to be a national park, it's meant to have, mainly wildlife and stuff like that, but yeah, especially for the axolotl, I didn't want to do it, with our last build with the, I can't remember what it was. What did we put in the ice caves? I don't remember. It was a frog, I think, or a toad. What was it? I don't remember. Whatever we had in the ice caves. I didn't really want to do that kind of thing. That doesn't really suit the vibe we're going for anymore. So having like a little nature display thing inside the welcome centre and like a little shop and all this kind of jazz, I think makes a lot more sense. So that's the general idea, really. So just kind of building up this wooden building. I was really, really inspired by this build, and I had this big idea, because what I want to do is bring a road back in, and have a road, like a car road, slinking through this area, because we're going to have a little town nearby, and I figure that needs a road, and I don't know, I just kind of wanted to fill out the park a little bit more in that way. And the plan was to have a tunnel on the right-hand side, and the cars would go through the tunnel, and they can maybe pop out the other side of the river that we've got, the waterfall by where the horse habitat is. But then I realised, well, there's a river there. And the tunnel, there's just nowhere for the tunnel to go. So my whole plan kind of fell apart, and then I was going to build a bridge. You'll see me messing with it later. I was going to build a bridge across, but that's not going to work. We'll talk about more later. I had such a good plan, and the entire thing just fell apart so very quickly. But I think we ended up with something pretty cool. And like I said, it's not finished, but it'll be finished by next week. I recorded all of this last night in my very sleep-deprived state, so my head. So I couldn't, it's not like I've been working on it for the past week and getting loads done. So hopefully this coming week I can now work on this a little bit off camera, kind of do all the detail work, and then next week we'll do the axolotls, and you guys will get some nice surprises. You can see it kind of coming together. I was really unhappy with this building for a really long... It looks super ugly here. I was really unhappy with it for a really long time. It took quite a lot of work to kind of just bring it all together. And again, dealing with the ramp was, as it always is, kind of a pain in the ass. It's good. I think elevation and height terrain and smart word talk is a positive thing. I think it's a needed thing for parks to look good, but it's a new thing for me as well. In terms of my builds, oh, my head is killing me. Life is pain. I need more pills. Yeah, so just kind of like just trying to fill things out. And the problem is mainly that the walls are just obviously too flat. They're just flat blobs of blobbiness, and that's not cool. That's not cool. Nothing wrong with being blobby, but not for the walls. And they're not blobby. They're the opposite of blobby. They're flat. Anyway, so yeah, I'm trying to put the road in. And the problem with Planet Zoo, well, there's two problems. Number one is paths in this game obviously love to connect to each other at any available opportunity, which is not what I wanted. And the problem, of course, is also that it's on a ramp, on a hill. Even if just in that little bit. So it kind of like, I don't know, it doesn't want to go down it properly, and it's kind of jumping onto each other. And I don't know, the path system in this game is... I don't have to screw around with it too often like this, but sometimes the path system in this game, man, makes me sad. But I want to do like a little crossing there, and then the idea is the tunnel is going to be on that left-hand side instead. It's not going to be like a big thing or anything. Also, can we get some doors, by the way? I was thinking about this before. We've got this open doorway, but I can't fill it with a door, or have a door like swung on the hinges, because all the doors have like wood already around them, if you know what I mean. So I don't know what to do about that. It's a bit weird. We don't have any doors that are just like doors. They're always in a frame, you know, which sometimes is helpful, but sometimes isn't, so we kind of need both. Anyways, adding some windows. This is kind of where it started to come to life a little bit. I still need to make some signs for this. I'm going to do like little notice boards and stuff like that, and little sort of information boards about the area, just the kind of thing that you'd see, I think, on a welcome centre, basically. But you can see how it started to come to life at this point, basically. I think the windows and those little details on the walls really kind of saved it, honestly. And then we chuck on some benches, we'll chuck on some lampposts. This will be the most, I guess, modern, one of the more modern things we build in the entire park, really. You know, it's got the concrete floor that I've added in and all that kind of jazz. Another problem with building on the ramp, by the way, I would have really liked to use the concrete to build the pavement going up to the habitat, but because it's on a ramp and because the game doesn't let you tilt, which is really annoying, by the way, that we can't tilt flooring items like other than on the x-axis. I'd love to be able to mess around with them on the y-axis. I don't see why we can't. But either way, it means if you're on a ramp, if you're on anything but a flat plane, you can't use the floor items. Yeah, it wasn't really going to work anyway. Right, so yeah, I realise at this point this area obviously needs a little bit of loving, to say the least. So I just started chucking things. I didn't really have a plan, if I'm honest. I'm going to do like a little, again, more information signs. It's like a notice board, like a cork board kind of thing. I'm just going to build a cork board in Photoshop and post it up there. Have a little one on there as well. Or just replacing some of the windows with notices as well. Sometimes windows, sometimes notices. Just so it feels a bit more like a welcome centre, I suppose. As I say, inside of this building is where the axolotl is going to be. But obviously so much of the work has been done already. So next week we can kind of... Basically, I'm going to spend most of the week focusing on finishing off the general area. There's quite a lot to do around this area and still for the Siamangs, to be honest. And then next video can hopefully be moderately short. I can showcase all the new stuff I've done, and then we can focus on the inside of the building for the axolotl, which is very much the plan. But the idea is that, so there's the pathway, the walkway, and then there's going to be a road behind it, and behind that road is going to be like a parking spot. It's like a campsite for the coaches. You know, you come up here and you park your trailer and you park your caravan and you kind of sit on the edge of the river and overlook the whole area, is the idea. Realise that the windows look stupid. You need a window frame. It doesn't really work without a window frame. And a little bit of lighting at the entrance. But yeah, very simple window frame, just across, really. And then I'll mix that up a little bit in a moment. Just move the cross upwards, just so they look different. Oh, double cross, fancy. just something to mix it up a little bit. And you can see I lowered the higher roof as well. It was a little bit much. What are we doing? Yeah, so really I was just focused on the building, which was the main thing that I was inspired by. The building was the main thing I wanted to build. This was the image that had inspired me. But it's not really that relevant to the Siamangs. There is going to be an open area on this side. I'm going to make that glass and keep that open and put benches and stuff outside. So this will be like a viewing area for the Siamangs within the visitor centre. This was like the first time I've used this as well, this stamp tool, because I wanted this to be obviously hard-edged, because that's where the path is going to be. So use the stamp tool to start knocking out the Siamang habitat. Of course, trying to build like a... you see ape habitats, monkey habitats all the time, where it's like an island, so they can't just swing out and they can't just swim out, basically. So they're going to live on an island. And I realised my problem here, however, is that the exhibit was just too small. It's way too small. You know, I didn't really plan for it, and there isn't any room to go because there's a freaking river. So my first idea, which is kind of what I'm building for now, and you can see I was kind of thinking about it, was to have the island here, and then a bar going across the river, across the gap, and on the other side would be like a monkey house, and they'd be able to move from one side of the river to the other. But honestly, it would have been really annoying, and I didn't like the shape that it was giving me as well, this kind of very straight line. You know, the path is just one big horizontal line, it's very boring. So I decided to change that. It did doom my tunnel idea. This is why I need more time to work on this area, because this whole area is super awkward. But you can see what I'm doing instead is I've pulled the exhibit down, and we're going to build a monkey house, a very, very lackadaisical monkey house, but a monkey house all the same, into the far wall, into the mountain, basically. It's going to sit in the mountain, and they'll be able to live in there and chill. So, yeah, it didn't work out the way I had planned. The building I'm really happy with. At least I will be when it's filled in and we've got a bit more detail there, but I'm pretty happy with that. This area, I like the habitat, but it's in the way that most of my builds, I feel like, I don't know if this is how other Planet Zoo builders feel or how you guys feel about other Planet Zoo builders, but I feel like for a lot of my stuff, it's terrible for a really long time. And then it hits this nice point and it just kind of, boop, it just becomes something, you know? But it can take some time to get there. And the building got there, and the Siamang habitat hasn't quite yet. I was just testing some sizes there. So I like the idea of having the road running by it. I just like the contrast between that and that. And I thought, you know what? All I need to do is do a tunnel, as you can see, and the road is going to run into the tunnel and disappear, and you don't need to see down there. It doesn't matter, you know, it's not relevant. I'll just put some lights down there, I'll put some stone, and it's finished. We don't need to link it with something else, you know, we're a zoo game. We can do what we want. And I might have that also run off down to the town at the side as well. My only concern with this is if I want to do the lines, you know, the yellow lines in the middle, like we did at the entrance, it's on a slope. As I've said, it really does make things 1,000 times harder. I think it's going to be doable, but I think it's going to be a little bit tedious. The building's going to be there. I've not done the staff buildings yet either. That'll be part of my detailing work. I just really didn't want to have to wait like another week to upload this video, and given how everything's going, this is about the only content I had for today, so it has to do until I'm hopefully a little bit more recovered. I hope people understand. But by the end of next week's video, we'll have the interior of the building done, hopefully with the axolotl, and we'll have all this detail. This whole area will be finished, basically. I'm still really enjoying the build. I really am. I just couldn't get on this week as much as I would have liked. And then we're only one animal away from finishing the pack, hopefully, which would be miraculous for me. We will carry on with this zoo, of course. I love this zoo, and the idea is very much to keep this zoo going till the end, probably, till it's finished. Don't know, God knows when that'll be. I'm just going to use the Planet Zoo one of these. These are not easy to build with. They're cool, though. They look really good, and the brachiation looks fantastic for the Siamangs. So, my major problem with this habitat really is the feeling that the Siamangs can escape. Now, I've already checked it. The Siamangs actually can't escape at all. They can here, but I ended up fixing that. They actually can't get out. But I feel like it kind of looks like they can get out. So that's another thing I kind of need to address a little bit. I've started to address it, but I really didn't want to close off. This side is fine. We've got the mesh along here because that's the entrance way, so we kind of need to block that off, right? But the bit on the left, the viewing area, you know, you often see monkey habitats or ape habitats where there's no barrier at all to the island because they just can't get across. And technically, my Siamang cannot escape. It literally can't escape. So it's fine, but it has to look like it's fine. And it isn't the biggest habitat, and I feel like it looks like they could just jump across. So I'm going to address that a little bit, but not too much. Just putting some mesh in the water at the sides there, just so, kind of like suggesting that they can't just swim to the side and climb out. In essence, they could just climb up the mesh, but pretend it's electrified or something. I don't know. I had a bit of a problem here, so what I wanted to do, of course, they've got their little, see, you can hear I'm increasing the gap to the island, so it looks less likely they could jump across. In reality, they probably couldn't, to be fair. This is the little monkey house, this isn't anything, this is going to be very, very basic, I just wanted it there. So they had more room, so it looks like they've got more room as well. And it, you know, it adds a nice little interesting detail to have this monkey house carved into the mountain. I could not get the brachiation to work for this. I was using the new swinging pole things, so, you know, the idea is they swing across and they enter the thing, but for some reason it just didn't work. It got across. You can see the green line there very briefly, so they can climb this bar all the way across, but they can never get down into the actual building itself. I never really figured out what the problem was there. I did fix it eventually. I'm slowly working on it here, but I ended up using the wood and the regular platforms, basically. And it worked eventually. But little Bintang here, Bintang my Siamang, fantastic name. A little Bintang here was trapped. It says Bintang can get out. She can get out, but she clearly couldn't. She clearly wasn't leaving. She was clearly unable to actually get out of the building for a really long time. I think it's fixed. I think. We'll release more Siamangs when we get in game and we'll see, but it just ended up doing a fairly regular ladder thing. This is, I don't know, I feel like I've grown a lot as a Planet Zoo creator, but this kind of thing, I see some people build these beautiful elaborate tracks and all this kind of stuff, and it's just not something that's really clicked with me quite yet. It's not something I really tried to do, if I'm totally honest, but it's something I'd like to do. Anyways, I nearly finished it here, but I thought, you know what, if I'm going to upload this, if we're going to make this a Siamang video, we have to make even if the outside area needs work, the exhibit itself has to be approximately done. So we're going to build up the rock work, and we're going to build up the plant work, and make it all pretty-like, basically. I feel much more confident in my rock work now. I'm not going to say this is anything special as it ends up. Some exhibits are focused much more on the exhibit, some exhibits are focused on the surrounding area, some are a mix. The exhibit itself is fairly chill. I mean, I like the mountain monkey house. I think that's a cool idea. But beyond that, it's fairly chill. Oh, I did add a little mesh. Did I add a little mesh? I did add a little mesh. Little mesh? Little mesh? Yeah, little mesh. Little mesh wall there. Just to, again, just suggest that the Siamangs can't escape and eat your face. Would a Siamang eat your face? I know chimpanzees would eat your face. Would a Siamang eat your face? I don't know. I don't know. I have to crunch my skull every now and again, bear with me. Okay, I really like that area on the right. It's kind of, I don't know, I tried to replicate it, it didn't really work. But there's this one specific bit of rock work that I really, really liked, which unfortunately is the back of the exhibit, so you never bloody see it, but it's like this double layer of flat rock, and then between them it's got the bitty rock, the rubble, essentially, and it just looks really good. Attacking it with the fog grass, because of course I am. Everything... Fog grass is grass now to me. That's literally how it works. I've kind of committed to that idea, which is fine, except it means I now need to cover my entire park in fog grass. It is established as the canon of my park. You know, I can't undo it essentially. But that's fine. It always looks really good. Always looks a bit weird from a distance. I've started getting a little bit of reusing it. I used to just kind of smack it all on in big clumps. What I'm trying to do is fade it out a little bit more now and have little dotty bits of it. It kind of doesn't look quite as impressive, I guess. Some trees. Pretty sure they could climb that tree and jump out. And we're doing a mix of oxeyes and poppies for the habitat. Nothing too crazy in terms of the foliage, really, because it's quite a small area, so I kind of want them to be able to navigate freely and not have to move around too many things, essentially. Should be nearly done, right? How long is this video? 1920. Blaze it. Some lily pads are on the side. Again, just trying to stick to the established foliage. It's one of the challenges of this park, I suppose. I don't have a limited foliage roster. There's quite a lot of foliage in my hearted set, and I don't mind expanding. Like the lily pads, for example, are not in my foliage set, but trying to make all the habitats feel different from each other whilst using largely the same foliage can be a bit of a challenge. But it also makes them, you know, feel like they're part of the same park in the same environment, which makes a lot of sense. I delete the fence because the fence looks stupid. I didn't have enough control because it was a game-made one, where if I use my little crappy rope one, yeah, I control it. I am the master of my own fence, as they say in the clubs. Oh, Shingo Shango, as the kids say. Alright. Kids will once again deny that they say this, but they're dirty rotten lies. Gonna do a little sign there. I don't know what I'm gonna call this. Siamang Island? I kind of want to call it Return to Monkey Island. I know I want to do a crossing there, so I'm just kind of building up that pathwork a little bit. Try to do the road markers, but there's an obvious problem here. So what I think I need to do is just use teeny tiny blocks, basically, all the way down, or at least on the ramp bit. But I'll just... There you go, there's a bit of a better view. Obviously, we're going to hop in game. We're going to release a few Siamangs. I'll show you what we're doing, talk about the future, your hopes and dreams. Obviously, there's a lot of work to do in the area, but I think I've made really good progress, and I'm excited for the next part. I need to stop doing this a bit more often. I kind of get into my head. I think it's one of the reasons we maybe stopped on Planet Zoo in the past. I had these huge projects that were maybe going to take many, many hours that I reasonably couldn't really do in a week because I have other videos to do and my second channel and maybe other things going on in life. So I don't even have anything going on in life. So I think being able to split exhibits into parts if need be and kind of not worrying about how it'll perform is a good thing. Anyways, let's hop into the game and check it out. Right then, let's have a little peek. So you walk down this little staircase, nothing special, just a little staircase. Obviously this right hand area will... I'm just trying to focus on little clumps at a time, and eventually those little clumps will become big clumps. So this left clump is a good clump. This right clump needs a little work, but then it'll be a good clump. We move on. We stop talking about the clumps. We fix that later on. Right, so as I say, the road at the moment kind of heads down here, spins down here, and the idea is I'll just flatten this area and push that a little bit further on, and then it'll turn, and you won't see it. You're never going to go down there. It just has to look like there's a tunnel there. This is going to be such a pain in the ass. Obviously, I've said I want to build like a fishing village or like a mining town or something. There's going to be a docks area down there, quite a large area. It's going to be quite a big project, actually. And I think the road maybe going down there and turning down there and using that as the foundation for the town makes a lot of sense. We shall see how we feel about that. So as I said, obviously this area, disaster. Eventually it's going to look really good, but that's part of next week's video. But the building itself has, I think it's really come together, actually. I'm really quite happy with it. I don't really do buildings, you know, which I'm sure isn't news to people. But, yeah, this was quite a new style of project for me. I think it worked out really well. So we're going to replace those with information signs, blah-de-blah-de-blah. Obviously, that will not say Leopard Pass. I don't know what we're going to call it. I can let you guys help me out. That's the idea. I'm probably going to move that in the middle as well. This whole area, I'm thinking, is just going to be a concrete plant tree sort of built-up area in the middle there. This, I say, is going to be like a parking spot. So we're going to have some coaches in here, and then trees behind them will extend that out a little bit. So it's like a campsite sort of area here. And then we'll probably have to connect the path. Oh, you can walk on the road in this kind of place. I don't think it's a big deal. Anyways, the building. So, is our visitor centre. Might put like a little lot sign on it. Inside needs a little bit neatening up. But, well, that's part of next week's episode. I think I'm basically just going to flatten with wood across the entire top bit, basically, and sort out these plants. We'll think about it, but we can decorate the whole interior. We can do like a little nature section with plants and the axolotl. And obviously this right-hand wall is going to open up into glass, and then you'll be able to look out, boop, into the... Oh, it looks really good, actually. I've never actually stood here, so I'm quite happy with how that looks. It actually looks really nice. Except that tree. That tree's a disaster. Apparently changing that was enough to break the Siamang. But yeah, I probably need to raise this fence, because I think people would die. What I'll do is probably just add some, maybe some mesh along the top or another bar. But it has the feeling I'm going for. There was two specific images I was using. There was one of this, the visitor centre sort of style building, and then there was one of the. It's just the side of a habitat of a ape house habitat thing, and they kind of look over from the building into this bar with the log and into the water and into the habitat. There she goes, brachiating away. Actually, one of the only problems I have as we'll head down here. Show you this a little bit. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this came out, because this is not the kind of thing I would ever do. You know, this kind of... It was really difficult. It may not look like a big deal. Initially, my plan was to have the whole thing on the slope, but I figured I will die. I've already done that once. I don't need to do it again. But it looks nice, right? But just having this flat and then having that join and having it all neat and tidy it was really annoying. Like, I was really surprised by how much a pain in the ass it was. But I think it was worth it in the end. Gives a nice bit of height and differentiation to the whole shebang. So eventually, obviously, we'll decorate these buildings. I think what I'm going to do is maybe put like a roof across here, so have this as like a shaded viewing area. I don't really know what I'm doing down here. I might just make this a staff-only area, this whole bit, actually, in retrospect. Because I don't think you need to come around here as a guest, right? Oh, no, you do. That's the problem. Because the idea is that you can come over here. There's going to be a bridge over to this side, and that's going to connect with the horse habitat, which comes out down there. You see how it's all tying together? It's nice, isn't it? The horse habitat is there, and then there's a path in the middle, and it comes down there. And the idea is that comes down here, and there's a bridge here. So you do need to be able to come down here as a guest, which is why this path is here. So I think just make this like a shaded thing. You don't necessarily need to be able to view the apes anyway. go on your bridge and you walk across. That's about it, I think, for... Let me make sure no one's walking into my door. Yeah, I don't really know much else to say. I guess I'm done. So there it is. There's a more general... Oh, we need more apes. I just remembered. We need more Siamangs. Let's have a little look. Siamang. We have 1 female so far. We need 5 up to 5 males, up to 5 females. So we're going to get 3 males, 3 females. That makes sense. You're a horse. A horse, of course. 2 Arif, Kadek, Suzin, Sisha. I need 1 male Rimbo, because it sounds like Rambo, and that's amazing. Let's grab all of those. It was just hard work, man. To work out how I was going to connect the staff to this and give them a house and not have to go over here. And obviously, eventually, I think the idea is for this to be rock and have some water spilling over. It's going to come together really nicely by the end of next week. Hopefully, the hope is that by next week, this whole area will be finished. This entire block here. There'll be an axolotl in there. This will be a parking zone. This will all be rock. And this is just going to be a natural path. And this path here will go down also into the town area down there. I don't really know what we're doing next. I don't remember what the last animal is. It's the oryx, right? I don't really have a plan for the oryx. But yeah, so there's the building. I know it's shaking a little. I can't really do anything about that, unfortunately. We could hide the shaking at the back, actually, in retrospect. I probably should do that. Probably will do that. Yeah, welcome centre. Hooray! They're making their noises finally! They don't do it when they're on their own. I kept this blue. I was going to make it green initially, but it was a bit boring, basically. You know, I wanted it to be a bit more interesting to look at and kind of stick out in the green landscape, and the blue sticks out without sticking out too much, I felt, so I kind of kept the blue. Oh, I was going to say, so yeah, this heads into here. They can get into here. There's no reason they would want to. I'm going to put some stuff on the floor. We're going to put some lights in. I'm going to try to make it look a little bit nicer, but you're not really meant to look... It's just meant to suggest that there's something else there. And I do like that it's built into the mountain. It's got this, obviously, this cage around it. How much does it look like they could escape? I guess it doesn't. I mean, I don't think they could get from here to here, now that I look at it. It's not as bad as I thought it was, actually. It's less of a problem than I thought it was. I'm probably still going to try to do something here. Even if just like another barrier in the water. Likewise here, because I do feel they could just swim here and climb up, so I'd like to maybe put a log across here as well, on top of that. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with it, actually. Yeah. I love it so... I love this stuff. It's so good. They sound amazing, and the brachiation is awesome. It really is. This is cool. Just hanging there, but I want to see the swinging brachiation. Oh no. Oh no, they're running into each other. Oh, right, are you going? Oh, right, okay, that's good. I've never seen them actually use this, so that's promising. Even if they don't go all the way in, the fact that he's on the bridge is a good sign. I love them so much. And yeah, I'll just show you, they can't escape or anything if we hop into here. There you go. So I guess I shouldn't worry about it. You know, at the end of the day, if they can't escape in-game, then it shouldn't bother me, even if it does a little bit. This area as well, I feel like they could probably get over that, so we're going to put a log over the top of the mesh there. But it's on the way. It's on the way. And I love them deeply. It's a little funky at times. But, yeah, they're great. They really are great. They're my favourite animal in the park. They're one of my favourite animals. They're the top 5 animal in the entire game for me. I think they're fantastic. Play that funky music, Siamang. Play that funky music, Siamang. Head banging away. Beautiful stuff. Absolutely beautiful. That will be coming to my new album, available in all good HMVs very soon. So there isn't much else to show you. Most of this stuff is going to be done off video, because it's going to be quite a few hours work, and I get this weird pressure when I'm recording for the video. It doesn't really make sense, because I stop, I don't do these videos in one big clump. I stop and start and do an hour here and there over them last night. But I can't tab out as much, and I can't just tab onto my music, and this isn't really relevant to the Siamang. So a lot of this stuff is going to be done off video. And basically what we'll do in the next video is we'll be focusing on this interior. And then, of course, we'll tour the whole thing. I kind of like as well having some secret stuff I've done that I can then show you guys afterwards, so... But, yeah, I mean, it's coming together, isn't it? It's coming together. It's a decent chunk. I don't know what we're doing for this Oryx, though. I haven't even begun to thought about that. But that sounds like a problem for next week, me. Until... Oh, yeah, I need to fix this. You know what the great thing about the trees is as well? This wall, which was just a massive eyesore for ages, is no longer really a problem. Because you can't see it. I think maybe a couple of rocks there, and we'll be good. It kind of looks alright now. It looked horrible for ages, but now, through the power of redwood trees, it looks pretty nice. Life is good. We'll end it there. Thank you very much for joining me. I'll see you lovely folks very soon. Cheers, much love as always. Bye-bye.
Houston, if you're ready, we'll maneuver. Reaching out.